John lived in a small, quiet town. The town was peaceful, the streets were clean, and there were many green trees. John was a quiet boy. He loved his books. He liked to be silent. He did not have many friends, but he had Sarah. Sarah was his best friend. This was enough for John. Sarah lived in the house next to John's house. A low wooden fence stood between their gardens. Sarah was very different from John. She had a lot of energy. Her eyes were bright blue. Sarah's laugh was loud and happy. When she laughed, John always smiled. They met when they were 5 years old. John played alone in his garden one day. A red ball flew over the fence. The ball hit John's leg. Then Sarah climbed over the fence. She smiled at John. "I am Sarah," she said. "Can we play?" After that day, they were always together. They walked to school every morning. They played in the park every afternoon. John was the quiet boy, and Sarah was the bright girl. Their friendship was very good. Summer came quickly. The weather was very hot, and the days were long. John and Sarah loved the summer, so they went outside every day. Their special place was by the river. They sat together under a big tree there. Sarah talked much about the future and what she wanted to do. She talked about travel. She wanted to see new places and new cities. John listened quietly to her. He liked her voice very much. He often looked at her face. He felt a new thing in his heart. This new feeling was not friendship, it was love, and it grew slowly. John was afraid of this feeling. He was afraid to speak the word love. He did not tell Sarah his secret, and he kept the secret inside his heart. He just sat and listened. He looked at his best friend and only smiled. He wanted to tell her, but the words stayed in his mouth. Time went fast for John and Sarah. They spent many days together, and John's feeling for her grew bigger every week. He often thought about her name. He wanted to hear her voice all the time. He started to see her as more than just a friend. John began to watch her carefully. He noticed the small things, how she smiled, or how she moved her hands when she talked. One afternoon, they sat by the river. John decided, "I must tell her my true feeling today." He opened his mouth. He tried to speak the word love. The word felt heavy on his tongue, but no sound came out of his mouth. He stayed silent. He was very afraid. What if Sarah did not feel the same thing for him? He asked himself this question. He feared she would say, "I do not love you." He feared their good friendship would end forever because of his words. Time quickly moved forward. John and Sarah finished school when they were 18. This was a happy time for them. Sarah had a plan. She wanted to study in a big city far from the town. She wanted to see the world. John also had a plan, but his plan was different. He found a small job near home. He did not want to leave. One evening, Sarah packed her bags. She said, "I must go now, John, but I will call you every day." John smiled, but he felt cold inside. He wanted to tell her, "Please stay with me here," but he was still silent. Sarah left for the city in September. The town felt dark and quiet without her. John missed her happy laugh very much. They talked on the phone sometimes. They wrote letters. The distance made John's secret love grow even stronger. One winter, Sarah came home for the holiday. John felt very happy and excited when he saw her at the train station. They decided to meet the next evening. They chose a new cafe in the center of the town. The cafe was warm and quiet. She talked about her difficulties. John thought, "This is my only chance." He planned his words carefully. He knew he must tell her his secret love this night. Sarah arrived late. She looked different now. She wore big city clothes. She smiled her happy smile at John. They drank hot tea. John looked at her face, ready to speak. But Sarah started talking quickly about her new life. She talked about the big city lights. Then she stopped talking and took a breath. "John," she said, her eyes shining, "I want to tell you some important news. I met a nice man at the university." John heard Sarah's words, but he could not move. His heart became cold and very heavy inside his chest. Sarah did not notice John's silence. She was too happy to see him. She smiled and talked much about the man. "His name is Michael," she said. "He is very kind and he studies hard. He is very good for me." John forced his face to smile. He tried to look happy for his best friend. "That is good news, Sarah," he said. He knew his chance was gone forever. He knew he waited too long to speak. His secret love broke into many small pieces. Sarah finished her tea. "You must meet Michael next time," she said to John. He said, "Yes, I will do that." John walked home alone that night. The quiet streets were dark. He felt a deep, terrible sadness inside him. A few weeks passed. Sarah called John on the phone. Her voice was very happy and full of excitement for the future. "John, I have more news," she said. "Michael asked me to marry him. He gave me a ring. We will have the wedding next summer." John stood by the phone. He felt like the whole room was cold. His dream of loving Sarah died at that moment. He took a deep breath. He knew he must be a good friend now. "That is wonderful news, Sarah," he said slowly. "I am so happy for you both." The words were easy to say, but they were not true. His heart felt like heavy stone. Sarah asked John to be a special part of the day. She asked him to stand next to her at the wedding. John could not refuse her. It was impossible to say no to Sarah. He said yes. He would watch her leave him forever. He hung up the phone. He sat in the dark room alone. His secret love was now a secret pain. The summer wedding day finally arrived. The weather was beautiful, and the sun shone bright. John woke up early that morning. He put on his suit. He felt no joy. He felt only the heavy duty of being a good friend for Sarah on her most important day. John went to the church. He saw many people. Then he saw Sarah in her white dress. She looked like a queen. Sarah smiled at John. She looked beautiful, but she seemed very far away from him. Their old world was gone forever. John stood near them during the ceremony. He watched Michael and Sarah say their promises. He watched them put rings on their fingers. He realized his secret love was truly over. He knew he had missed his only chance many years ago. It was too late now. After the short pictures, John left quickly. He could not stay for the party. He could not watch them anymore. He walked away from the church alone. The sun was still shining, but John's world was completely dark now. Many years passed quickly after the wedding day. Sarah moved far away with Michael to a big country. Sarah was living her dream now. She traveled to new places and saw many big cities, just like she wanted years ago. John stayed in the quiet small town. He continued his simple job near his old home. He never married. He did not look for love because he knew his heart belonged to only one person. This person was Sarah. Sometimes John heard small news about Sarah. She was happy with Michael. They had children and their life was good. John felt the pain every day, but it was not sharp now. It was a quiet, dull sadness. It was always with him. He looked at the empty house next door. He accepted his life. He accepted his silence. This was his future now. He knew he should have spoken that summer evening, but he could not change the past now. He lived with the great what if. John was an old man now. He lived alone in his small, quiet house in the town. He remembered everything clearly. One cold winter day, John looked through an old closet. He found a small, dusty wooden box at the back. He opened the box slowly. Inside, there was a letter. He wrote this letter many years ago, and he never sent it. It was the letter he wrote for Sarah. It was the letter he tried to give her that night at the cafe, but he failed. The letter had only 3 words inside. John read them silently. I love you. He held the paper in his old hand. He looked out the window at the empty house next door. He smiled a sad smile. John knew he could not change the past, but he wished he had spoken that day long ago when she was still near. The most important word stayed silent forever. It was the greatest pain of his long, simple life. The memory stayed with him always.